by far the thing that people typically never think about when it's time to set goals and take action is who they are showing up like. And this is because we're just not taught to consider what identity we're taking into our life and our goals. What we are taught is to do SMART goals, right? We're setting goals, we're making them measurable, we're doing all the things that SMART goals says. It's not wrong. But what it is lacking a one thing, and that is thinking about who am I being as it relates to this goal. A lot of times you're not seeing any traction on your goal because you are not being the person that accomplishes the goal. You are setting a very high level goal, being very mediocre. And I'll say that with love because I've been that person too. I had all these dreams and goals, but I'm being mediocre or I'm shrinking. But I have this audacious thing that I desire to do, that I believe I've been called to do, but I'm not stepping into that power. I'm being the person that I've been being. And that person is not that person that is going to be aligned with this big goal. And so it's not that your identity does not encompass that power, it's that you have suppressed it. It has been dormant. It has been asleep because of fear, negative emotions, guilt, worried about what people think, all these things, all these self-sabotaging behaviors. And so what I want to do in this video is help you literally recognize that identity, the identity that you're holding, is not aligned with your goal. And it's not because you're not able to accomplish the goal. You're not aligning who you are and who you need to be with what you desire to accomplish. So if you're not seeing yourself getting the outcomes that you desire, it may be highly likely, maybe, you are not being the person aligned to that goal. So for instance, I used to do career coaching and college advising for students for a long time. And there were students that really desired, to do some things in their college career. And the reason that some of them didn't get into college or they ended up failing halfway through is because they did not level up who they were to accomplish what they desired to do. They said they desired a thing, but they didn't level themselves up to it. And that's why some of them, failed halfway through or didn't see it. And when they recognize this, I remember coaching some students that might have been on probation or on the brink of being kicked out of school or just really not being able to meet the standards they needed for whatever major they were in. And we would do all this work about okay, not just what your schedule needs to do and change, how do you need to change? How do you need to change your environment? How can you come up to meet what you need to do? That is the only way, because it's not like there were tactics that needed to change. Now, sometimes tactics matter. Sometimes tactics are the wrong thing. Maybe they're not aligned to your learning style, so we cover that. But once we keep changing all these tactics and, people will say oh, well, just keep changing it up until you find it, I would pump the brakes on that. I'm like, stop changing stuff. What is holding you up? There is something in you holding you up. It's not the thing. I have a great example of this because I had $83,000 in debt back in the day, and my friend helped me get my life together by paying it off. And I can identify right now why it took me so long to do it. It took me 8 years to do it, so not the length of time it took me once I started taking action toward it, but it took me 2 years to even start doing it because I was locked in on feeling like, oh, this is never going to happen for me. I can't possibly take this on. It's too big for me. Even though I desired a debt-free life, I felt like it was too big for me. And so even though, my friend gave me budget, she gave me books to read, articles to read, I still felt like I couldn't do it. I kept doing what I call information station. I was parked, you all. I was parked at information station, meaning reading all the books, admiring people from afar that's done the thing, oh, that would be so great, being also aspirational, but not doing anything because it's not that I didn't have the tools, it's because I did not believe that it was for me. I did not believe I could handle it. And honestly, if I get real with myself, I was afraid of having to be the person that had to change. I had to change. I had to change my habits, literally. I have helped over 30,000 leaders with habit change over the years and counting. And what I know is habit change can feel hard. And when you have to change your habits, it doesn't have to take long, but when you decide, it has to happen incrementally and it takes practice. And so I believe that at the time, I didn't want to lock in because I didn't want to change my habits. I didn't want to change going to Starbucks every day. I didn't want to have to start budgeting and looking at what I'm spending every week. I didn't want to do that on the inside, but I wanted the outcome. You see what I'm saying? We want the outcome, but we don't want the process because the process is going to cause us to change. It's going to cause us to shift who we need to be in order to accomplish the outcome. And that's the thing people are running from. And that's the reason why you are probably watching this video like, oh, yep, that's me. And so if that sounds like you, then it's an identity problem. It's not a do problem. It's an identity issue. And so I want to help you lock in on your identity, take it a notch up. We're going to take it up a notch because we're not ending this year being in the same place. We're not doing that. We're forward. We're going to keep doing this. So I want you to ask yourself some real questions. And this is the main question. Who do I get to be? Who do I get to be? Who does Desiree get to be? Who do you get to be if you desire this to be your outcome? So with me paying off my debt, I get to be disciplined. I get to be someone that tracks their expenses. I get to be consistent. I get to believe in abundance. I get to be open to new ways of making money. I get to receive money from different outlets. All these things I wasn't being. I get to change how I feel about it. I get to start saying no to money ways of thinking that just are not helpful. I get to stop talking about myself as if I'm broke or in between, being in my best life because of what's in my bank account right now. I have to speak like someone that's already debt free, that already has a thing. And so, who are you being right now? And who do you get to be? 2 questions. That's it. Won't need to be none of those. Who am I being right now? And who do I need to be? We have to do something about that gap. And the only way to close the gap is to practice. Say with me, practice. You have to practice being the version of you that you know is already in you, that you've been suppressing, that you've been afraid to bring up because the fear of, can I sustain being like this? Is this really who I am? This is just not who I am. All the things you're fighting with is really our brain. I'm a really big believer in neuroscience. I'm a really big believer in faith as well. I'm a believer. And so I believe the 2 work because, God made our brains. He already knew what he was doing. He was doing all this stuff. And so I just know that once we are wired to do a thing, we be locked in because it's easier for our brain to lock in on something and normalize it because we have so many things that we take in over the course of our lives. Every day, every minute, we're taking in information. So it's easier to create routine in our brain. And once we lock in on one, we have wired it in our brain and our body and all of that. And so because of that, our brain is like, no, why are you doing this? This is not what we usually do. Because it wants to make easy decisions. And so that's why it feels hard. It's embodied in our body. We have it in our body. It's in our brain. It's in the way we talk. It's in the way that we live. So you have to literally completely transform who you're being. And that can be hard.com when you put the pressure on yourself to do it all at once and not be okay with the process. Say process. It's a process. So I want you to answer that question. See what the gap is. Maybe the gap is discipline. Okay, well, what would it look like if Desiree stepped into more discipline as it relates to what you desire to do, the outcome you desire to have? If it is, saving money, if it is that promotion, whatever it is, what is the gap? What is the small thing that would help me shift my identity into the person that is aligned to get that goal down? Now, if you like what I'm putting down, because I mean, it's helping my own life. Because, that's the beauty of me being a personal development nerd. I help my own life with this. And so if you like what I'm putting down, then you need to be at my 3-day change challenge. It's a change that needs to happen around here. You hear me? September 23rd through the 25th, I am doing a 3-day change challenge. And you don't want to miss it, especially if you desire to have a different outcome in your life because you are being the person you need to be to get that outcome. So go ahead and click below. Can't wait to see you at the challenge and in the next